All right, welcome to the People's Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Doug By, here as always with Mike Rossi, Andrew Garganese, and where's Joe at?
Matt Canada.
Matt
Matt
Canada.
Canada.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
here.
there he is.
I'm here. I'm not happy, but I'm here.
Joe, I thought that was supposed to be a beef of the week.
No, I can't go Steelers twice in the same topic. If I didn't do it last week, sure as hell would be this week.
13 straight weeks of fuck Matt Canada.
Fuck that
That'd
guy.
be kind of funny, actually.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah,
All right.
nobody wants to listen to that.
We got a ton on the episode today. We're gonna do Champ and Chump. We're gonna do Panic Meter. We got Joe's Beef. We got Buy Low, Sell High, and we're gonna be talking about all the waivers of the week. So let's jump right into it. It was a wild weekend, and we're gonna cover it all. Let's do Champ and Chump of the week. Mike, who's your champ of the week?
My champ of the week is Zach Wilson. And I'm not saying Zach Wilson's my champ for his actual fantasy performance because it wasn't that great of a fantasy day for him, but he went 28 for 39, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, 19 points, which isn't bad. But the best thing is that you could tell he found some confidence. I don't know about you guys, but I watched that game last night. And I just found myself rooting for Zach Wilson. I just wanted him to play well. He came out. He showed he has it in him. He threw it to Garrett Wilson. He was throwing it to Tyler Conklin, Alan Lazard. It was open up lanes for Brees Hall. It just that whole offense looks so much better because he gained confidence. And the best thing about it, he blew the game. He fumbled the ball. He fumbled the snap, right? That's not the best thing yet. But he fumbled the snap and he blew the game. And you saw his teammates rally around him at the end. It wasn't like, oh, here goes fucking Zach Wilson again. No, they all came up to him like, hey, good job today, blah, blah, blah. So they gave him some confidence. If you can just build off of that, then you might be able to continue to start Garrett Wilson and maybe even some other Jets on that team. What the hell is so funny, Joe?
What kind of champ is this?
It's a great champ. It's a morale boost.
You just said he lost his team the game and he's your champ?
Yeah, because his team didn't give up on him. He gained some confidence, and it made it so Garrett Wilson and maybe even like Alan Lazard and Brees Hall, they could become startable. So that's why he's my champ of the week.
It's thinking
Moral
outside the
victories
box.
on this show. Moral victories on this show, apparently.
It's definitely thinking outside the box. I thought you were going to go with AJ Brown. I thought that was a layup for you this week,
Yeah, I thought it was too this week.
but I like
Oh,
it.
did you, Joe? You didn't just think of that because Doug said it?
No, I literally was surprised you didn't go AJ Brown. I
Look
swear
at
to
that. You guys made it 4 minutes in before you started playing. Incredible. Good job. Good job.
I don't even think it was 4 over under. I take under on that. All right, Joe, who's your champ of the week?
So mine is Baker Mayfield, man. Baker put up about 25 points. He had 246 and 3 touchdowns. Don't know if you guys have seen it, but Baker is destroying man coverage defense. He's got a 96 quarterback rating against it on the year, and Saints played it for 61% of the defensive snaps yesterday. Why? I have no idea. You would have thought that they would have looked something up like that if their defensive coordinator knew what he was doing. But I definitely think that this makes Baker a streamable quarterback, especially if he's playing against a defense that does play primarily man.
I like that.
Yeah, he's been a surprise too. Those are 2 surprising champs, by the way, to start this off, because
Very
there were some
surprising.
big numbers yesterday. Andrew,
For anybody that just sees the Instagram post and doesn't have our reasoning behind it, and they see Zach Wilson and Baker Mayfield, what the please? I'm not listening to these guys. They suck.
yeah,
Skip right over that.
Andrew,
All right.
let get us on the tracks again.
All right. My champ is Puka Nakua. I feel like for a fantasy podcast, we really haven't given the free agent acquisition of the year for probably about 90% of leagues any kind of attention. He's just smashing rookie records left and right. I know that most of this is because Cooper Kupp's not in, and Cooper Kupp's coming back soon. But Puka got his first NFL touchdown. He's got like 39 grabs and 460 yards or something through 4 games. So this is more of a combined for all 4 of his weeks. But what a start to a career! What a start to a season! So shout out to Puka.
He seems like he's for real, doesn't he? Like even with Cooper Kupp back, I think he's going to have wide receiver 2 numbers the rest of the way.
Yeah,
Flex appeal the rest of the way.
Somebody said to
when
sell him a couple weeks ago.
I would have sold him for a 1 for
Yeah.
sure. But he's going to be back when McVay had Woods and Cooper Kupp wasn't quite Cooper Kupp yet. I mean, Bobby Tree's got a lot of play. McVay has no problem using 2 wide receivers. Then Stafford has no problem just throwing to the same person over and over and over again. So if he gets a matchup, I think he's earned Stafford's trust. I think McVay's in there. Yeah.
Let's not forget that this is a 31-year-old with a hamstring injury. So I'm obviously not saying I want it to happen by any means, but it's a good re-injury risk, right? I mean, so he could have value with Cooper Kupp there, but if Cooper Kupp ends up missing another week or 2, or even for the rest of the year or something, that potential year-long value is huge.
Kupp's 31, huh?
I thought he was 30.
Right? I'm not making that up, right?
I thought he was
No,
30.
I just didn't realize he was that old. Wow.
Either way, he's an older receiver. I think he hit his peak late as far as football goes.
I think he got drafted late too, yeah.
Is that what it was?
Like he came in. I think
older.
He came in
older.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the other thing with that is Matthew Stafford. He needs to stay healthy the rest of the way because he got a little banged up and his hip is messed up or something. So there's that too. But if he does, yeah, they're passing it a ton right now. So, all right, my champ of the week is Nico Collins. I think he was your chump last week, Andrew?
He was. Yeah.
Bounce back.
This is why it's a week by week.
It's the week. It's the week. Exactly. Yep. So 3 out of 4 of these weeks, he's been great. Last week he had 7 catches on 9 targets for 168 and 2 touchdowns. That was 32.3 points and half-point PPR. So far he's the wide receiver 7 on the year in the 4 games. I mean, I think he's here to stay. I like what they're doing there. CJ Stroud seems like he's for real. They're passing the ball a ton. I think he's gonna be good the rest of the way, but he was definitely the champ of the week from me. All right, Mike, who's your chump?
He finishes as a wide receiver 1, Doug.
Do I think he's finished as a wide receiver 1? I think he's got a great potential to do that. Yeah. I think he'll be right on that.
Look at Herbert Hoover over here. Good answer. Politician.
That's the most Joe answer ever. He might do it. He could do it.
I'm on the fence about it. Yeah, we'll say he does.
There we go.
He's getting the production. He's already 7 through 4 weeks, so let's say he does. Mike, who's your chump?
My chump of the week, Desmond Ridder. The guy's holding back this whole offense. There's so much talent on this offense and just can't be unleashed because, well, Arthur Smith is a part of it, but it's mainly because Desmond Ridder can't throw the ball. He was 19 of 31, 191 yards, a touchdown. I didn't get to watch the game because I was at my son's football game, but he had back-to-back pick sixes, right? That's not a lie, back-to-back picks, and one was a pick six.
I think he threw a pick 6, and then the next one was I think it was dropped, but it should have been a pick 6,
okay.
Or maybe it was picked. I can't remember, but yeah, it was a back-to-back pick.
So he threw 2 picks either way. And young quarterbacks, they're supposed to get better as they progress, right? As the more games they start, the better they get. And the 4 games so far this year, Ridder's quarterback rating has gone down every single game. It's unbelievable. So he's already announced the week 5 starter. But if he has another game like that, you have to imagine that Heineke is the guy. I mean, they have a chance at the division. They're 2-2. It's not a good division. So if you want to stay relevant, you got to make that change eventually.
You certainly do. All right, Joe, who's your chump of the week?
Chump of the week goes to Michael Pittman, man. It seemed at one point we weren't sure if he was even going to get a catch in a game. He got 1 for 15 and got a 2-point conversion, which give you a couple points if you own him. But, I mean, the guys who were close to him in targets in this game were Kyle Granson, who tied him with 5 targets, and Drew Ogletree was only 1 target behind him. So it's not like Richardson's having tunnel vision towards him. He doesn't have a favorite target yet right now. And that's just not what I expected out of Michael Pittman this week against the Rams defense, who I mean, I don't think their corners are great. Maybe I'm underestimating them, but I expected him to have a bigger game this week.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was listening to a podcast earlier, actually, and they were talking about that. If he's not going to be good when Anthony Richardson has a great game, then what is he going to look like when he has a really bad game? You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that is a little scary with that. All right. Andy, who's your chump?
Hold on. Before you go,
Yeah.
I got to take a piss really bad, so I'll be back. You got Andy and then Doug, and I'll be back for the panic meter.
Okay, go ahead, Andy.
Can you kick him out? Can you just toss him
You want me
out?
to just toss him out of this thing?
I already
I
hate
don't want to see him
everything.
anymore.
His topics,
We're-
I can't stand that he picks, and then he does this.
Well, we're 11 minutes into the show, I think. All right, go.
It's like a little kid. Did you use the bathroom before we leave?
We'll have to ask him next time before we start.
All right. Yeah. All right. So what are we doing? My chump.
Your chump. Yep.
It's Mike
Sanders.
Rossi.
Yeah. Yes. Mike. Oh, my chump is Miles Sanders. I know he was banged up coming into this game, but he still played, right? 13 carries for 19 yards is
That's Cam Akers
terrible.
numbers.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that, Doug.
Yeah. And then he got 3 targets, which is awesome, but he caught all 3 of them. He went for 13 yards, and he got outsnapped by Chuba. So I mean, that's just loss on every type of production that you look for in a fantasy back. So
You think
there
the
it is. Chump of the
outsnap
week.
thing? You think the outsnap thing has more to do with the injury though, and kind of the game script late in that game?
I think injury, and I think lack of production. I think it's a kind of a combo thing, but not a good sign.
He
Especially
hasn't
for
been
somebody that's
running
probably
well.
drafted. No, he hasn't looked good at all. I think
He's been catching the ball a lot though. He's been catching at least 3 a game, I think, the first 4
Who are we
games.
talking about?
He
Miles
was my
Sanders.
downer of the year
You
before the
would know.
season. I didn't see it happening.
Yeah, he was in the perfect scenario last year with the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
100%. Yeah.
All right. My chump of the week, I'm kind of beating him while he's down, but it's Joe Burrow. I mean, it's just disgusting right now. His injury continues to linger, obviously. He looks lost out there. Doesn't look right. Yesterday, his stat line was 20 for 30 for 165 yards, no touchdowns, and that was 4.7 fantasy points. You can't start him anytime soon. You got to wait for him to show something, man. The whole offense needs to show something, and they're missing T. Higgins now.
Would you drop him?
Would I drop Burrow? No.
And
I would not.
There's no scenario. You're keeping him on the bench no matter what, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think right now you have to. I mean, he was high on my panic meter last week, and like I said last week, he's not healthy. You can see the difference. This offensive line has always sucked since he's been there. He's been sacked a ton since he's been there, but at least he's had some mobility. But with this injury, he's got none.
Yeah, and he was taking longer to throw, I think, this week too, which is why he was getting beat up more. Because previous to that, he was throwing the ball quick.
Oh, yeah.
But I just, until you see any kind of improvement out of him, you cannot start him. So, all right, that was Champ and Chump of the week. Good job, boys. Let's go to the panic meter, and we're gonna start that off with the Bengals offense.
Oh,
boy.
the whole Bengals offense.
The entire Bengals offense.
The entirety.
The entirety of it.
Was this a request by somebody on Instagram?
This might have been a request. Who was the name of the request on that Instagram post?
The Cycle Fox.
The Cycle Fox. A loyal listener of ours, the Cycle Fox. Oh wow,
What
Joe.
the?
Impressive. All right, so Joe's got an 8, I got a 6, Andy's got a 7, and Mike's got a 9. So
The guy who wants to talk.
yeah. We're all panicked. The guy who wants to talk usually goes high or low. So
Go with whoever's the lowest. Everyone's panicking on this offense. Go with whoever's low. Why aren't you panicking?
go, Mike. Talk.
Oh, God damn it. I didn't want to talk on Bengals offense.
You should have thought about that.
It's 4 weeks in, and they've scored 49 total points. I'm not, what's that? 12.25? Is that the math? Yeah, I think that's the math. 12.25 points per game. How can you not panic on that? And now you got Jamar Chase coming out and saying, I'm always open. They're starting to butt heads a little bit.
Say it how he said it.
I don't know how he said it. I just read it.
Oh, did you say?
I'm always fucking open.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that what he said? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. The quote that I read, they must have bleeped that out. I think it was Nickelodeon or something, Disney. But they
cover a lot of
they 12 points a game, and they're not meshing like they usually do. It's just, I don't know. You have to, when you're not playing well, superstars like that aren't getting their way. It can go south quick. So yeah, I'm panicking.
All right. Anyone else have anything to say about the Bengals offense?
And T. Higgins just got hurt. How long does anybody know how long T. Higgins is out for?
It's a rib injury.
He said he's going to try to play through. It's going to be week to week, he said. No, he said he may play this week. He's going to try. It all depends on the pain threshold.
I didn't see that. All right. I mean, I wouldn't start him. Would you guys start him if he played this week?
No.
Who are they playing?
He was bad when he was healthy.
Who's Cincinnati playing?
I don't know who they're playing.
I mean, rib injury like that, if he takes one bad hit, he's out. I'm not risking it to put him in my lineup unless, I got nobody on my bench.
Yeah, if he tweaks it, he's not going to – you can't run with that. All right, nobody looked that up. Okay.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up. Cardinals. They're playing the Cardinals, guys.
Cardinals.
Better than we anticipated, but it's the Cardinals.
I don't even think it mattered who the matchup was for me. Not with T. Higgins, at least. The only guy I'm not worried about in that offense is Jamar Chase, actually, because I still think he's going to get his regardless. All right, let's jump to the next guy. Let's do Jahmyr Gibbs. So he's been another guy who's been super disappointing so far. And not yesterday, but Thursday night, that continued. He had 8 attempts for 40 yards, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 11 yards.
It's gonna be a consistent joke now.
So a bunch of 7s. I'm 4.
Dealer's choice.
You guys are 7s.
4. You gotta talk now.
I'm not talking. This is your segment, Joe.
That's what I'm saying.
What'd you say?
Oh, this is my segment on Gibbs?
Yeah. Go for it.
I figured you'd want it because you were the only one not to go 7. But
I'll chime in.
I mean, I'm worried about it because when you see what David Montgomery's done, I thought David Montgomery was going to be the goal line back. I didn't think he'd be getting this many carries. I thought it was going to be a split at the beginning, and I thought Jahmyr Gibbs' athleticism and his playmaking ability was going to take over at some point, and that was going to get him more snaps. And Campbell's just going with the guy who's, been getting it done week to week. And I mean, obviously he's getting all the touchdown carries like Jamal Williams got. He is definitely the top fantasy guy. And I don't see, unless Montgomery gets hurt, I haven't seen enough from Gibbs that, merits getting more snaps than Montgomery right now.
Yeah.
You know what is his snap percentage in week 4? Anybody have a guess?
Gibbs?
Yeah.
It's still decent. I'm going to say 63.
37%.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
it's not good.
No, that's not what I expected.
Because they're doing single back a lot, too. I think everybody thought coming in that Gibbs was going to be in the slot or 2 guys in the back. It's not the case. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about David Montgomery later a little bit more, and I'll touch on that some more. So let's jump to the next guy, Ramondre Stevenson. So he's been another guy I think we talked about him last week too, but he's going to continue to be on this. And this past week, he had 14 attempts for 30 yards on a 2.1 average. He had 2 catches for 10 yards. Where you guys at on him? We got some high numbers again. So Mike's an 8, I'm a 7, Joe's a 9, and Andy's a 6. So Joe, you're going to talk again, man. You got the 9.
I mean, I talked about a little bit last week that I think Zeke's looked better when he's gotten the opportunities. I don't remember what Zeke's numbers were. I'm not going to be honest. I didn't pay a lot of attention to this game yesterday because it was such a blowout early.
I don't think many people did.
I can't watch Mac Jones throw the ball. He's just like Chad Pennington. He's got no arm strength. He could have the weakest arm in the league. And that's what I think is going to hurt Stevenson too. Even if Stevenson was running a little bit better than he is now, they still don't have a passing game to take pressure off and to push defenses back to let him get lanes. And this offensive line hasn't looked as good as I thought it would be. I thought they'd figure it out and get better, and I don't see it, and I don't see this team getting better anytime soon. Or at least this offense. I think the defense can keep them in games if they don't turn the ball over, but I'm just
but
not
even the
impressed
defense
with anything.
Matthew Judon went down. He's going to be down multiple weeks, if not longer. Christian Gonzalez. I don't know what the news is on that yet, but that was a shoulder injury. He didn't come back. Those are the two best guys on defense that went down. So, yeah, that team's not doing much good this year, I don't think. Go ahead, Joe.
They both injuries on those said it was undisclosed and indefinitely. That's the word I was looking for. Indefinitely. So no real timeline yet for it. I was like, what the fuck? Why I even start talking if you don't know the word you're trying to say, Mike?
That's right. That was a good save, Joe. Good job. All right, let's go to the next.
Yeah, Andy, stop saying my name.
Raheem Mostert. He kind of disappeared yesterday in that game. He also had 2 fumbles, I believe, in it. He only had 7 attempts for 9 yards, 5 targets, 3 receptions for 36, and it was Akan's game. So I'm at a 5.
You said it wrong again. This guy can't do it.
What is it?
Yes, Achan.
Achan. I said Akan. Well, yeah, I'm never gonna say it right. I'm at a 5. Mike's at a 10. Joe's at a 5. Andy's at a 4. I want Mike and Andy to talk because Andy hasn't talked much. But Andy, talk about your 4.
Yeah, he got a little bit banged up and he got pulled out. They ran the ball 15 times. I mean, he had 8 of the carries. I think they both had maybe a few catches. I don't remember how many catches they had, but he's not the best back on the team, but he's also not going anywhere. He had a ridiculous sideline grab. He played well. I don't know why everybody would have any type of 10. That's crazy, but yeah, whatever. Just fucking, he's probably on the best offense in the league, and he's still a very valuable part of it. So I don't really understand any panic here.
You still think that's the best offense in the league after what the Bills did to him?
Well, they went up against a fucking. We don't need to talk about it. Just they're still incredible. They're still a very good offense. They're going to be just fine. They're just not as good as the Buffalo Bills.
All right, I was trying to tee you up there. Go ahead, Mike. Talk about your 10.
When I say a 10, I'm thinking if I'm the Mostert owner. Like, I don't have him in any league, so realistically, and I've always been down on him. So if I own Mostert, if I roster Mostert, I'm panicking because you just said it, Andy. He's not the best back on the team. And they're not going to score 70 every week. And I think Achan just keeps taking more and more time away. And you say, yeah, he got banged up and he came out. And that's what I've been saying. That's what he does. That's what Mostert does. He plays good, but he always gets hurt. And he's 31 years old. As the season progresses, the young, healthy legs are going to take over, and this is going to be Achan's backfield. And that's why I'm panicking.
How many people traded for Raheem Mostert in the past few weeks? Probably not many, right? You drafted this dude somewhere around like the 7th round because you thought Jeff Wilson was going to be healthy. 8th round, whatever it was. He went late. You've got nothing but production out of this. You've got nothing but production out of this pick. You're not going to get the value that you need from getting rid of him. There's no need to panic. Everything that you got before Achan became this dominant force was all plus. You're living in plus territory.
When you're thinking of it in that aspect, yes, I'm saying when you're thinking of it like, oh, I didn't draft him to be this and he became something. Yeah, you're not panicking because, again, you didn't draft him as that. But let's just say you drafted Mostert on the bench, but then you also drafted Nick Chubb, and now you rely on Mostert.
Guy. Yeah,
that's my point. Is if I'm relying on Mostert, I'm not comfortable with him as one of my 2 running backs. I don't think he's going to be when it comes to playoff time.
What are you going to do with him? Are you trading Raheem Mostert?
Yes, I said that 2 weeks in a row. He's my sell high.
He's been a sell high.
What are you trading him for?
Not much now.
Yeah, well, I would hope people took my advice and they traded him last 2 weeks.
I
if
was
you
saying he
didn't,
was
then
ahead of it. He was ahead of it.
then that's why you're panicking. That's why I'm panicking, because I lost my trade value. The one thing I thought you had with Mostert, you lost. So now I'm panicking. That's my whole point of a 10.
So Joe, I'm a little surprised about you had a 7, right?
Yeah.
Because you've been the guy high on Mostert.
No, 5. I had a
Oh, you had a
5, I
5.
think, on
Okay, yeah,
Mostert.
okay.
I had a 5 on Mostert
All
because
right.
I'm not. I got Mostert in the 5th, so I'm a Mostert owner. I had Chubb. Chubb got hurt. I still have Mostert. I am still at a 5. His Rossi's exact example. I'm not that worried about it. This offense is too good, like Andy said. He's not. Mike McDaniels is not going to play one running back 90% of the time. He's not. He's not going to do that. Mostert's going to get snaps. He's going to get carries. He's going to get. I think he'll still get end zone carries. So I'm not worried about this at all. Yes, does he get hurt? He may have a game off and on. But even if he's not your top 2 running backs, like Andy said, you drafted him. Again, 15th round, I drafted him. If I'm getting a starter or even a
15.
flex play out of him, yeah, 15th round. I'm looking at the draft results right now. I got Raheem Mostert in the 15th round in that league.
It's probably where he was
You were
going.
in it.
Yeah.
So I can't be
Joe,
panicked
can I
about a
ask you a
guy
question?
going that late.
This league that you're putting the scenario up of, Mostert, Chubb, how many points did you put up in this week in that league?
This week it was bad, but going into this week, I had the second most points short of the top score by 3 points. So yeah, you can make fun of me. I had one bad week. Nick Chubb's out for the year. I lost my top pick.
Sounds pretty panicked to me.
It's a rough
Not
road
panicked
ahead.
at all. 1 week, Rossi. Tua is going to be fine. Tua is not going to play the Bills defense that just sits safeties back. And for some reason, Mike McDaniel wasn't prepared for Sean McDermott to do that. So,
10. Unbelievable.
All right, let's go to the next guy. Let's talk Chris Olave. He had a huge stinker yesterday, man. 5 targets, 1 reception for 4 yards.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So I'm at a 1. Mike's at a 2. Joe's at a 4. Andy's at a 3. All right, Joe, talk about your 4. Why are you that?
I can't talk about this. Can't talk about this topic.
Okay. All right. I have a feeling that that's coming up then. Mike, talk about yours.
But all I'll say is Chris Olave's Olave. He's a good player.
What the fuck?
Well, if
Mike's gonna talk, I can't let that happen.
Yeah. No, Olave's a good player, man. Obviously, his quarterback hasn't been playing well, but he'll get it done. I'm not worried about it. He's got too much talent.
Bottom line is Derek Carr shouldn't have played last week, and he couldn't throw the ball past wherever Kamara lined up, and that's the only reason why he had a stinker. So he's been playing good besides this week. He'll come back. He'll be fine.
I tend to agree. All right, let's go to the next guy. Let's get off of Chris Olave.
Fucking guy.
Jerry Jeudy. Yesterday he had 5 targets, 3 receptions for 52 yards. That was 6.7 fantasy points. Where are we at on him? Mike's got a 4. 6. I'm sorry. Mike's got a 6. I have a 4. I had 4 in my head. Joe's got a 7, and Andy's got a 6. Joe, can you talk about this guy or?
Yeah, I can talk about you.
Awkward. Okay.
So I wasn't big on Jeudy coming into this season. I like Sutton better. Not that either one of them has done great things, but I still like Sutton better in DraftKings daily because he costs less, and I'd rather take the shot with that. But this offense, I think I touched it last week. I don't think they're understanding Sean Payton's scheme, and the timing just doesn't look like it's there. And I just don't know. Russell doesn't seem like he has a favorite target on this offense or a go-to guy on this offense. And I don't know if it's because he doesn't have faith in certain guys being there, or like I said, the timing of this offense just isn't there. And I don't know. I don't see a lot of it getting much better this season. And if anything, I could see the Broncos as a team that may start the tanking job in the next week or two.
Yeah, what are they, 1 and 3?
They owe a lot of money to Russell Wilson. Though. I don't know why you can't really tank, and but why doesn't Marvin Mims get more routes to run? I was reading something about like his routes run is, it's like playing like 36% of snaps. He's only running routes like 13% of I don't know what it was, but Every time he touches
true?
the ball, he produces. Yeah, it's like 13% of the routes. I don't know. I can't remember what I read, but he touches the ball, good things happen. But he just never in on offense. I don't.
He's a
Seems
speedster too, right? Isn't he's a fast guy?
Yeah.
Is that?
yeah, he retired. I think he's their return man.
And
So
they were talking about like Russell Wilson loves those guys. He loves throwing those, high long passes to those guys that can just get underneath it. But guess not yet. All right, let's go to the next guy. George Kittle, another stinker. He had only one target, one reception for 9 yards. And that was without Deebo Samuel, right? He didn't play that game.
No, he played.
Oh, Deebo
Debo
didn't
played.
play? Oh,
People
okay.
played. Yeah, he was a decoy, but he played.
Okay. So I got a 2 on there. Joe's at an 8. Andy's at a 6. Mike's at a 4. Mike, talk about your 4.
I think Andy just doesn't like to talk. He's like, all right, where can I go right in the middle so
I
Doug
think
never picks me?
I think I'm
Go to Mike.
I think you're Nick Wright over here with your hot takes. I don't know how I'm not that
What?
bad. Why are you talking? And then we have a 2 and an 8. Why are you speaking? If
No,
there's a
no,
2 and an 8.
a 6 and an 8.
Uh,
Mine's a 4 because I
Andy
don't know.
Doug was a 2.
I was a 2. Yeah. But
There was a 2.
Doug was a 2.
I was a 2.
Um,
I'll chime in.
my only worry about Kittle, because I mean you saw this happening if you drafted Kittle, right? He's part of a 4-way timeshare on a great offense of fantasy producers. So he's gonna have games like this. But my worry is that the 49ers are so good that they don't get a lot of offensive snaps. They snapped the ball on offense 53 times this week. And that's not the lowest in the year. Another week, I think week 1, it was 49 snaps on offense. They have the quick hitters, like CMC just runs it to the house, or Ayuk with a bomb or something that he's not getting. Like, the tight end isn't going to be the one getting the 80-yard touchdown. He's the one that's going to be getting in, the 10-yard routes and whatever. And if you're not snapping the ball a lot, he doesn't have those opportunities. So that's why I'm a little nervous. But it's Kittle; he'll produce.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat as
I
you.
mean,
where...
I'm
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
I'm a Kittle owner, and I'm panicked because of everything you just said, and I don't see anybody stopping this offense. So Brandon Ayuk is playing much better than I thought he was going to. I know Andy had full confidence in him coming into the year and thought he was going to do good things, but he is 10 times better. He is 10 times better than I thought he was going to be. So I drafted Kittle thinking Kittle was going to be possibly the second best option on this offense to CMC. And he's been blocking a lot more. And with what these other guys are doing, I'm nervous. I don't see Kittle being the value of what he was where people drafted him. And I just don't see him getting to that point at all. I feel like Purdy has developed a trust and confidence throwing the ball to the wide receivers. And then if CMC stays healthy, man, I mean, he looks like he was the overall number 1. Maybe Jefferson's still with him, and I hate giving Rossi credit, but he's definitely done better than obviously Eckler's been hurt, but even if Eckler wasn't hurt, it'd be tough to match what CMC's done so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my only thing with Kittle is this is who he has been. He's kind of been a hit or miss guy. So I kind of figured that going into it. Also, CMC is not going to score 4 touchdowns a game. So, you think you might, Andy? All right, let's go to the next guy. Jalen Waddle. So yesterday he had 5 targets, 4 receptions for 46 yards. He wasn't part of that 70-point explosion that they had a couple weeks ago, and he hasn't really had too great of a year so far. Where's everybody at? I'm at a 3. Mike's a 5. Joe's a 3. Andy's a 3.
Just go Andy no matter what. Just go Andy.
I'm going
middle. I was
hoping
hoping somebody went high.
Andy had a 3. We're going 3.
Andy tied for low. He tied for low.
He's also my buy low for this week. So
so Andy's not going to talk about it right now.
You don't want to talk about it. All right, Joe, you talk about him.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, Waddle's gifted, man. I mean, this offense is going to score. Yes, he wasn't part of that 70-point game, but again, I think the Bills are more familiar with the Dolphins than other teams. I hate that I'm making him feel better with all these Bills comments, but I just think Sean McDermott was more prepared for this offense than other people are going to be. And I just see Waddle going back to normal next week. I'm not going crazy after this week. And I just think it's been a little bit of a slow start, but he'll bounce back. Way too much talent.
Yeah. I agree with those points. Andy, we'll talk later then. You can talk about him later.
Yeah, you know where to find me.
You'll have your time, Andy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's go to the next guy, Dak Prescott. I think he only has 3 touchdowns on the year. He hasn't been great fantasy-wise. His team has been playing really well. So where's everybody at on him? I got a 2. Mike's at a 5. Joe's at a 6. Andy's at a 5. You guys are all right in the friggin' middle. All right.
Andy, go
Andy.
Andy.
Andy, go ahead. Talk about it.
Oh, hey guys. Yeah, I don't know. You can't be too panicked about a guy that was barely drafted as a starter, right? So if he is your starter, you probably took him right in line with somebody else in that same grouping, that round 9, 10, 11 area. Their offense is good. Their defense is good. They've been kind of just outside of that Cardinals game. They've just been dominant. So he hasn't been asked to do a lot. I think they're capable. They've got the skill positions. McCarthy's a good offensive coach. When the time comes and they get in a shootout where he's needed to start slinging the ball, nothing of what I've seen, and I haven't seen too much of the Cowboys, but I've watched a good amount, has made me think that he's not capable of just coming out and dropping 350 and 2 or 3 touchdowns on you. And I love CeeDee Lamb. Tony Pollard's a good receiving back, so I think he's fine. It's not really a panic thing, especially given probably the draft equity that you put into him.
Agree with everything you said. I think it's been mainly game script when it comes to him this year. He hasn't had to be great because of what his team has been doing, but maybe that's why people are panicking, right?
Although the one time that he did have to be great, he threw one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life to lose that in the game. So do we really have faith in him being great when he has to come up clutch?
I don't.
His arm wasn't warmed up, man.
I don't need him to win games.
Yeah,
I just need to throw him for 350. That's all I need out of him.
All right, let's go to the next guy and the last guy, Kyle Pitts. Save him for the end. So yesterday in London, he had 4 targets, 2 receptions for 21 yards.
Oh, shit.
All right, I'm at a 9. Joe's at an 8. Andy's at a 9. Mike's at a 0. Did you forget to do another dash in front of that 0?
No.
What an idiot.
No.
Okay, I know you want to talk about him later, Mike, but
he's turning into Skip Bayless right in front of our eyes.
yeah.
This is incredible.
There's no possible way it can be a 0.
This is incredible.
Yes, there is.
No,
Yes,
Rick Rossi over here. Look at
He
this.
hasn't done anything.
Yeah. You ready? I'm not panicked.
Michael A. Rossi.
That guy can't hurt me anymore. I'm done feeling. My feelings with Kyle Pitts are over. He can't hurt me anymore. My panic is gone. I feel so much more free.
I feel nothing. I feel nothing anymore.
He's still gonna get that touchdown this week.
I do want to say, the leagues that I have him rostered, I am not dropping him. I'm not panicking because I will pick up a waiver tight end. I will start said waiver tight end. And Kyle Pitts will sit on my bench, and I will pray to the fantasy gods that he gets traded to the Dolphins. That's my only hope. So I'm not panicked because that guy can't hurt me anymore. I'm free.
Okay.
So bad.
Joe, why don't you talk about your 9?
Oh, it was an 8, but
it was an 8. Okay.
I mean, I didn't think Kyle Pitts was going to have a great season, so my 8 is for those people that drafted him where he was projected. I mean, quarterback stinks, first of all. Then Jonnu Smith shows that he could do some things. So if Jonnu Smith can come back and get a 90-yard game, Kyle Pitts, I don't know what his highest has been, but I would say he's probably hasn't had a game over 50 yards this year. And we all know he doesn't have a touchdown in 4 games. He only had what? I think we talked about it. He's only had like 2 last year, or or the year before. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see him doing much unless he gets traded and there's a miracle like Rossi said. But how do you trade a guy you spent a top 10 pick on that still is an athletic freak? I mean,
Top five? Did he go top five? He might have
he
gone
might have
Tight
been
end
the fifth
was.
or fourth pick. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
went
top
fourth.
five. Like you can't. How do you can't trade that, right?
I
Yeah,
just
you have to.
are we at a point where Kyle Pitts might just suck at football? Like, is that a thing?
It,
Could be.
Guys, I just said he can't hurt
I
me
want
anymore.
to say
Please,
no.
please stop.
I want to say no, but it's a very ability, man.
We think Ritter's bad. I think we know Ritter's bad, but I mean, at some point you have to like show some semblance of
Something.
being
Is he Chase
good.
Claypool? Just
Oh
this like
my
physical
God.
specimen that just sucks at football.
Claypool has a shitty
Could be.
attitude too, though. It seems like.
Yeah,
Very
that's
true.
wow.
I don't know. There's something off. So hopefully something happens with him, but it's not looking good. All right, that was Panic Meter. Good job. Let's
Well
go.
done, Doug.
Let's go. Let's go to our next favorite segment, Joe's Beef of the Week.
Man.
Joe,
So this week, it has to do with my bets a little bit because one of my locks of the week this week I thought was the New Orleans Saints. And let me tell you, that offense put up a letdown for me. So Derek Carr looked awful. I touched about Baker and how good he is against man and defense played too much man coverage. But that with them getting Alvin Kamara back, who yes had 13 catches, but for a measly 33 yards. I thought this offense was going to do something, and I thought they were going to have their best game of the year so far, and somehow they got worse. Derek Carr was 23 of 37 for 127, 3.4 yards of completion, which is god fucking awful. A lot of people thought going into this year that Derek Carr was an upgrade from Andy Dalton, and I'll be honest, haven't seen that this year. You got guys like Chris Olave, Mike Thomas, who are too good not to be getting production. Juwan Johnson had what was it? 9 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns last year. The guy's barely seen the ball this year. Bucks defense is 19th against the pass, average at best, and you only put up 9 fucking points. Like, I'm sure there was multiple people not just betting on the Saints this week, like me, that lost a whole bunch because of it, but that also played these guys in fantasy, like Thomas and Olave, thinking they would have good games, and they did absolute dog shit. So it was a fucking awful week for the Saints. I don't know if this is a joke. I don't know if this is what this offense is. Jameis Winston, I think, just might deserve a chance to show us something, see if he can do better, because Derek Carr has been fucking awful. And if it wasn't for Matt Canada, I would say that Pete Carmichael would be the worst offensive coordinator in the league. But luckily, Matt Canada saves him from that spot.
all right. Do you feel better?
Hopefully not for long, right?
Hopefully not for long. I still haven't gotten the update on my phone that he's been fired yet. Tomlin said changes were happening, and if you don't fire that fucking guy, I don't know what other changes you're going to make that's going to take you better. But that's not the beef of the week. Beef of the week is the Saints fucking sucked this weekend. Cost me money. They probably cost some people their fantasy matchups this week, and that was fucking god awful. Yes, I do feel better to get that off a little bit,
Good.
Doug.
Well done, Joe. All right, let's get to our buy low, sell highs. Mike, who's your buy low of the week?
Oh shit!
Mike
I
doesn't have
lost
it.
it.
Andy,
There it
who's
is.
your-
Oh,
you got it. All
I
right.
He
got
left
it.
it in the
I got
bathroom. He left it in the bathroom.
Guys,
Kid's
Yeah,
killing
I
us
told
this
you.
week.
He couldn't hurt me, so I completely forgot who he was. My buy low is Kyle Pitts.
You just
I know
said
he just sucked.
you just said you put him on your bench and pick up.
Yes. Guys, let me
This
play
is-
out a scenario. Because when I say buy low, I mean buy low. So here's a scenario. You're looking at your waiver wire and you go, damn, Michael Wilson just went off. I really could use a wide receiver right now, but I don't know who to drop. Do I drop Elijah Mitchell? Do I drop Rashee Rice, Kadarius Toney? Here's the answer. You don't drop any of them. You take 2 of those names and you go trade both of them for Kyle Pitts. And after you get Kyle Pitts, now you have a roster spot available for you to pick up Michael Wilson without dropping anybody. And you didn't give up your tight end, so you can still start him and hope that something happens, a miracle happens with Kyle Pitts. But he's not hurting you in any way. He's just sitting on your bench waiting to be played if something happened. That's it.
All right. I do love the 2-for-1 trade the day before a waiver. I think that's a great move, especially if you're going all in on waiver on one of the guys you're going to get him. It's a good move. All right. Anybody have anything to say about Pitts, or are we done with Pitts?
If you're somebody that drafted Pitts, like, what are you accepting for a trade at this point? Like, I don't have him in any rosters, thankfully. But like,
every single podcast I've listened to about fantasy, or they at least have one or Instagram or whatever it is that I'm looking at fantasy, they're all saying to drop Kyle Pitts. So when you say, what are you trading for? Like, anything that you think is going to be more valuable on your team than on the waiver wire.
Yeah. All right, Joe, who's your buy low?
So buy low for me is Jamar Chase. I know that's a big name, and you're still probably going to have to pay a little bit to get him. But he's had 28.6 points through 4 games. Hasn't finished better than wide receiver 11 in any week so far. But we've seen this story before. Last year, through 4 games, Chase only had 39 points. He had 19 the first week. Then he went 6. He went 6, 7, 8, 5. So he had one more bad week. But then the next 2 weeks, back-to-back weeks, he was wide receiver number 1. So Chase has had a slow start to the season. And then Burrow has gone his way on 3rd down 8 times. The amount that's converted into a first down, 8 times. Why he's not throwing and tunneling Chase the ball more, especially on 3rd down, makes no fucking sense. The only thing I can think of with this offense is T. Higgins is not playing as well, so he's probably seeing more double coverage. So hopefully Higgins picks up his play a little bit, and then that will help Chase. But I think at a certain point, and especially after listening to Chase yesterday after the game, I think he's got to get the ball thrown his way more, and the targets are gonna jump up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree with that. He, like I said before, he's the one guy I'm not worried about in that offense. What do you think you have to give up to get Chase?
I mean, I still think you gotta do a package. If you're a guy who has like a Mike Evans who's done really well this season and looks like he could be consistent, I'd probably package either another flex player with him and try to make that deal type of happen, or depending upon what the need of the guy that Chase has. But I mean, I'd give up bigger names than that. I'm using Evans as an example because he's had a big start to the season. He's got good numbers. But, I mean, there's not a lot I would fear giving up with Chase because I think he's had his bad weeks, and I think he's only got good weeks left.
Agreed. All right. Andy, who's your buy low?
Jalen Waddle. We already touched on it a little bit. He's a little bit banged up. He hasn't had a great start to the season. He missed a game, and then they ran into the Bills. Beautiful, beautiful Buffalo Bills, and he's gonna be fine. That offense is gonna be fine. They'll probably average the most points per game this season. McDaniel's gonna cook up ways to get him the ball in space. Nothing's really changed in his situation as far as I'm concerned. He's still, a top tier tight end, wide receiver too. Excuse me. So if you can get him, if you even got slight panic where you can give up a mid-range too. You know what I mean? Any type, I would upgrade. It's an upgrade. So you got Nico Collins, right? If I'm a Nico, I would trade 4. If I had Nico Collins and somebody offered Jalen Waddle, I would take Jalen Waddle. So stuff like that. Like, you got to kind of assume he's just gonna jump right back in there and finish the years. I mean, maybe these last, what do we got left? 13 weeks, 14 weeks.
Yeah.
He'll finish the top 15 wide receiver over the span, I think. So, yeah. Go
Okay.
get him.
So you think he'll bounce back?
Mhm.
All right. I'm going to do mine quick. We already talked about him a lot. My guy's Chris Olave. Joe touched on him a lot. Mike touched on him a lot. But other than that stinker that he did have yesterday, he's been averaging over 100 yards a contest. He just hasn't gotten in the end zone yet. Hopefully, either Carr gets healthy, because he definitely wasn't yesterday, or they make that switch at Winston. And Winston is not a good quarterback, but he's good for fantasy purposes because he just chucks the ball. So that's my guy. Better days are to come, so try to trade for him. I think right now you could probably – what I would do, I would try to package someone like a Sutton and maybe a Jerome Ford or a Jalen Warren, or like maybe even a Thielen with one of those two running backs. I would try to make that package for him. I don't know what you guys think about that. If you think it's realistic, if you think it's, but
it depends where they lie on the panic meter with Olave, but
always does.
Yeah.
But there is a guy in our league, and I told him I was probably going to mention it, that he is super frustrated with him. Matt, he's done a podcast with us, and I think he's going to do another one with us on Thursday. And Mike,
I'm looking at you, Matt.
Trade. Yeah.
You declined my trade, Matt.
I told him today, when I'm going to mention that, Mike's probably going to get on the phone while I'm saying it and send a trade offer.
So, yeah, I will. I'll
What'd
send
you
a trade.
offer him? What did he say no to?
Brandon Ayuk and Rashad White. I offered him that before this week happened, and he declined it.
It's a fair trade, but before this week, I don't think I would have made them either, personally. All right. Nobody has anything else to say about it, so let's move on. Mike, who's your sell high of the week?
I changed it, guys. So nobody knows who my sell high is, because I did have it as Alvin Kamara.
It's a mystery.
And then I kind of got nervous, and I was like, yeah, but he could still go off, and I don't want to tell people to sell him yet. So I went Derrick Henry as my sell high. The Titans were put in a game script that's once in a blue moon. They they were up 24-3 at halftime, and they're not going to be up 24-3 at halftime very often this year. So obviously he had a good week. He threw a touchdown pass. That's not going to happen every week. So I think this is the best you're going to get from Derrick Henry. Tajay Spears still looks good. He's still involved. So I can see, again, rookie running back, healthy legs, him taking more of that time. So my trade proposal, if I'm a deep roster, then I'm packaging Derrick Henry with somebody, and I'm trying to get an upgrade at running back. If I'm been hit by injuries and I kind of need that depth, then I'm taking Derrick Henry, capitalizing, and getting a 2-for-1 so I can get better flex options. So.
All right. Yeah, running back's tough for sell high right now. I have running back as my sell high as well, but the running back, the pool right now is so shallow that it's sketchy to sell high on a running back. All right, Joe, who's your sell
high? Sell high is DJ Moore. DJ Moore has shown he is big time boomer bust right now. 1 week, no good. Second week, good. Third week, no good. Fourth week, good.
That's been his career.
Yeah, I mean, I just thing is, Fields had a bounce back game this week. He actually was planting and driving off that back foot for most of the game, so he was getting those throws downfield and with some zip on him accurately. But I don't see him having a better game than this. And they played the Broncos, who, let's not forget, just let up 70 points 2 weeks ago. Yes, it was against the Dolphins, but they let up 70. So obviously, this is one of the worst defenses in the league. So I'm trying to sell DJ Moore just on his numbers and trying to flash those numbers and what he can do to people. And I'm trying to get somebody who's going to give you more consistency. Maybe you package DJ Moore with possibly a little something else, and you go get a Mike Evans if you're in that position. Because I think Evans is a more consistent player. And if I'd rather have a consistent guy than the boomer bust with DJ Moore, with that type of tier of wide receiver. And it will make me feel more confident going into each week.
Okay. Yeah, it all depends on the state of your team. DJ Moore, if you're like 3-1, 4-0, I think I'm okay hanging on to a guy like that. But yeah, if you need a guy that's gonna be more consistent and you're 1-3, 0-4, I agree with you. Andy, who's your sell high?
I'm selling my boy Tutu Atwell. I mean, what I said about Puka is also true for Tutu. He's having a great year, but Cooper Cup is coming back. If it's not this week, it's probably next week. And someone's the odd man out, and it's probably going to be Tutu. He's going to see a decline in snaps and targets and everything. Still has a role, but it's lesser. So if you can sell him now, even somewhere kind of close to his value, and get maybe a more steady flex option, go and do that for yourself because Cooper's coming.
Yeah, I think he's going to be somewhat irrelevant soon here. All right, I'm
no more Puka package. Now it's a Tutu package.
A Tutu package. My sell high is David Montgomery, and like I said, it is tough to do that with running backs right now. And I don't hate David Montgomery. I think he's going to be good the rest of the way through. But I'm worried about the injuries risk with him. They're running him 23 times a game. Also, and he's already been banged up. Also, I still expect Gibbs to get more involved later on in the year. But for me, I would rather try to trade him because what David Montgomery did yesterday, that's the peak of David Montgomery. He's never going to do that again this year or for his career. He's never going to do that again. He's not going to have 3 touchdowns and 121 yards rushing. His efficiency level is still low. He's averaging 3.8 yards a carry. But so for me, I would try to get some high upside guys. Like maybe you can trade him right now for Breece Hall and Zay Flowers, or like for an Aaron Jones who's been having a down year, and like a Drake London who hopefully gets a new quarterback soon. All right, let's that does it with our buy low, sell high. What do you guys?
I feel like Mike's got something to say.
Yeah. Mike, what's going on over there, bud?
You guys are giggling.
Nothing. We got waivers. Let's go waivers.
All right, let's do the waivers. So I'm gonna throw out some waivers for you guys, and I want to hear your fabs for them. So one of the guys who broke out this week is Jaleel McLaughlin for the Broncos. After Javonte Williams went down, it was not Samaje Perine who picked
That's
it
all.
up. What's up, Mike?
No one even knows how to say his name. That's how random it was that he broke out this week.
I thought I did a hell of a job with that. I don't know if I said it right or not.
Yeah, I think you did good too. Mike.
I tried.
All right, Doug.
All right. Names are tough. All right, Mike. What are you spending on him? Mike, you with us?
I think he's the waiver pickup. Yeah, I'm here. I think he's the waiver pickup of the week. I've mentioned this account in the past, but I listened to Fantasy Docs. He takes every injury and kind of breaks it down to what it means. And he said Javonte's injury, groin injury, I think, right? Oh, no, not maybe. I forget what it was, but it's directly related to his previous injury, and it's one of the risk injuries of coming back. So when he does come back from this, what they're expecting a couple of weeks, there's a higher rate of risk injury even when he comes back. So this could be a year-long thing, and he's obviously the starter over Perine. He showed that Perine is strictly that third down receiving back, and McLaughlin is, and he looked good doing it. So yeah. I don't know if you're desperate for a running back, if you're one of those guys that people just keep going down, especially if you're the Javonte Williams
or Chubb owner. Or
yeah, then you have to. This is it. Like we keep telling you to spend your money, and if you would have done with Achane, if you would have done with Puka, if you would have done these people, you'd be happy. You can't save it, so go spend over 50% if you need a running back.
Agreed.
I'm with Mikey here. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about and he's only 3% owned right now, so he's out there in every single league you're in.
Yeah,
except for 3% of them. All right, Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard, is that how you pronounce that one? Nobody knows.
Yeah, Chuba.
You got it.
Yeah.
So he's owned in 25%.
No, that's it. You did good.
Have confidence. Don't let Rossi get to you.
He's owned in 25% of leagues. Andy, you already talked about Miles Sanders some. How much are you spending on Chuba Hubbard?
Not much. I mean, if you're running back desperate, maybe 10% of your fab for $10 max. I don't know. He's just not that good. He's great college career, but he's just not that good in the pros. And Carolina's offensive line, I know they tried to address it in the draft and stuff recently, but it's really just not that good. Their whole offense really doesn't look that good with Bryce Young at the helm yet. He's got plenty of potential, but as of right now, I'm probably not spending much money on any Panther.
Yeah,
I
he's
gotta go
more
let
a
my dog in.
flex option. Yeah, no worries. He's more a flex option, I think. But if Miles Sanders is banged up for a couple weeks, not a terrible flex option to throw in there because he's catching balls.
He didn't do great though. Go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say I think he's a good option for a deeper league. If you're in that 14 to 16 team league, I think he's a good option because you're limited more there, and I think he's worth a 10 to 15 spot in that type of league.
Yeah, agreed. All right, I was going to talk about Zeke, but he is owned in 48% of leagues. He's probably not available in most of the 12-person leagues out there, so he's an obvious pickup, I think, because we already talked about Ramondre and how he's been looking. So let's move on to the wide receivers, unless you have any other running backs you want to talk about, Mike.
No, just again, I'll say it for a second time in a second week in a row. Tajay Spears, if he's available, just don't spend money, but put him on your bench. I just think he's one of the best stashes for a backup running back.
All right, next guy, the wide receivers. This is a guy that you've been high on, Mike, all offseason, Jameson Williams. He's owned in 32% of leagues. How much are you spending on him?
I didn't know that. Well, me particularly, I'm not spending a dime because I got him already in every single one of my leagues.
Every single league that Mike's in. Right when, Andy, when you sent out that message that Mike didn't see about it only being a 4-game suspension instead of a 6, I went and looked. Fucking Mike. Every single league.
Every league.
But go ahead, Mike.
I'm spending, I don't know, the potential for Jameson Williams. At first, it looked like Josh Reynolds had that role, and then Khalif Raymond. No one's taken that wide receiver 2 role on this Lions offense, and it's just there for the taking for Jameson. I think he's out to prove himself. He can become an every down and every week play for you, and you got to spend up for something like that. People are going to spend. So if you want a realistic shot at Jameson Williams, you have to do exactly what I just said for Jaleel McLaughlin. You got to spend 50% of your fab at least.
Yeah. 100%.
And when I say 50% of your fab, I mean 50% of the starting fab. Like if you started at 100, I'm saying 50 or above, not what you have left. It's 50% of whatever the starting fab was.
Okay. All right, let's talk about Josh Downs. He's only owned in 11% of leagues, but he's been looking pretty good. He looked better than Michael Pittman, Joe, yesterday. So how much are you spending on him, if anything? Are you going to hope that he clears waivers, or are you going to spend some money on him?
No, I think I'd spend probably like that between 7 and 10 range and take a shot on him. Like I said, I don't see a favorite yet in this offense. As we go further into weeks, like we say, your options become more limited. And I think he's got, a good high side to him if he can build a rapport. And I think this offense could get a little bit better. Anthony Richardson has looked a little bit better than I thought he would be. He hasn't turned it over as much. So I think he's worth a risk, but I mean, I'm not spending more than 10. That would be my high cap. I like the 5 to 7 number better.
Yeah, if you're needy for a flex guy, 10. Otherwise, I wouldn't go that high, I don't think. All right, next guy, Michael Wilson. He had a breakout yesterday that nobody saw coming. He had 7 targets, 7 catches for 76 and 2 touchdowns. So do you think that he's going to be the number 2 guy, number 2 wide receiver there, Andy? And how much are you going to pay for him, if so?
Well, a couple things first. One, I'm going to choke out my dog if he doesn't stop crying. And two, Joe, you are one Michael Pittman comment away from a side bet. Now jumping back in. But no, it was a good performance, but I think it's going to be more of a flash in the pan than an actual week to week thing. But that's, once again, you have fab for a reason. You probably have somebody in your team that
is droppable.
Isn't producing, and it's worth a shot that he isn't a Flash in fans. So I'm not going to go too crazy. Probably that same spot I was in for Chuba, that $10-12 range. If you have money to burn, if you've already burned a good amount, I'm maybe not spending too much. Throw in $5 or something. But if you got the money to spend, go get them.
Okay. All right, and then a couple other guys. Traylon Burks is owned in 43% of leagues. I think we'd all agree that you should at least roster him. Try to. And he's probably not available in most 12-team leagues. So, and then another guy is Jaden Reed, and he's owned in 24% of leagues. He's probably the third guy there still, though, but he's producing right now. So, Mike, where are you at on Jaden Reed? You going to spend any money on him, or are you going to hope he clears waivers?
I don't know. I did a little research because I thought you'd bring him up, and he was still on 66% of the snaps last week, even with Watson in. And I thought, with Watson coming back, he would lose that role, but he still maintained. I think he was in 65% of snaps the week before, and then Watson came back, he was still in 66. So, but Watson was only in for what I think like 25% of the snaps.
Yeah, he was in, so
he's not fully there yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not spending on Jaden Reed. I think once Watson's healthy, this is Dobbs, this is Watson team, and Jaden Reed's third fiddle to a quarterback that isn't going to throw too many 300-yard games. So I'm not spending on Jaden Reed.
Agreed. All right, let's jump to the tight ends. Logan Thomas is owned in 6% of leagues. Joe, you tried trading him to me this week, and I think, did he get a touchdown this week? Either he got a touchdown or he had a decent game. But
no touchdown, I don't think.
No touchdown. Okay. Logan Thomas, you spending anything on him, Joe, this week, or are you
I would. I mean, I like him. It depends how needy you are, obviously. I mean, I think he's worth that 5 to 7 range. If you need a tight end, I don't think tons of people are going to go after him, but I like Logan Thomas if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, he's always had the talent, I think. It's the health.
He's always had injuries. Yeah, the talent's
that
there.
Poor guy's brain.
That too,
I was just going to say that. If he has one more concussion, he's probably done. I thought that
going into drinking out of a straw. He's a hit away from drinking out of a straw, that poor bastard.
He took another hit this week, too.
The talent's there, the size is there, and because of his size, if he's healthy, he's a red zone threat. So I think he's worth spending a few bucks on.
You think his, like, when they do the baseline test in the beginning of the year, you think he's just like at 0 and they just can't even fucking see if he has a concussion anymore? Like, you can't. We actually can't tell anymore.
Yeah,
Logan,
he's the exact same he's been all year. So
he's good. Throw him out there.
All
right, 2 other tight ends. Cade Otton, he's only owned in 2% of leagues. He had decent game yesterday, right? He had a touchdown or 2. And Jonnu Smith is only owned in 1%. Jonnu Smith, we were kind of joking about that a little bit with the Kyle Pitts thing, but he did have a good day yesterday, right? What was the
better
stat
tight
line
end, man?
Mike?
Better player.
6 for 95.
Yeah, that's a solid. I don't think he ever had a stat line like that in New England. So, yeah. So, Mike, you paying for those guys at all?
No, either one of them. Cade Otton still only had 4 targets. He just had 1 long play. So I'm not chasing that. Anybody, that could be anybody week to week that does that. And Jonnu, 6 for 95. Again, if I'm not starting Kyle Pitts right now, I'm not starting Drake London. There's no way I'm taking Desmond Ridder as my quarterback and starting Jonnu Smith week to week. So I'm not spending on either one.
All right. Agreed. I want to end this show with Andy's quarterback stream of the week.
Oh, I got 2 for you, boys.
I got let's hear
it. All right. My first one, and this number is definitely going up. We already talked about him. CJ Stroud is owned in 47% of leagues. He has 4 games in the NFL, 4 games over 300. And I didn't think he was going to be this good ever. I thought he was kind of going to be a bust, but he's looked the part, and his wide receiver core has also looked the part. And they're not afraid to throw. So they got a game in Atlanta. Atlanta's D's look legit, but it's in a dome. You don't have to worry about weather. It might slow down a little bit, and he might not maybe be ripping the ball all over the place like he's been, but no picks. So I mean, you got pretty much all upside with CJ. And then number 2 is Sam Howell, owned in 18% of leagues. He's going up against that not very good Chicago defense.
Yeah, I love that. I love that stream this week.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're all on board. He had that terrible game against the Bills, but
he looked good yesterday.
I thought it was more of a fluke. Yeah, and then he bounced buzzsaw, baby. Then he bounced back and he played. I think we all know Philly's D is legit. Like they're good everywhere, and he played really well. So
I think you described the Bills last week as like a avalanche or a typhoon. It was some kind of natural disaster that you described them as that they came across. So
they are
an avalanche. Yeah,
there's an avalanche. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Those are two
team.
good streams. I like it. All right, boys. Good show. So from Mike, Joey G, Andrew, I'm Doug. We'll see you guys next time. Later.
Shout out to Trey White.